Well, because professionally, we got to meet our goals by achieving the daily checklist, right? But then at the same time, where he's been a blessing in my life, professionally as partners now, is he professionally has learned, and I don't even know if he knows he's done this, but he has a way. Probably had a lot to do with his relationship with coaches and players type thing, because it's kind of the same parallel. He had an awesome football career, but he'll have times where he'll be like, "Dad, we need to shut it off, like flip the switch."
Yep. All right, guys. So welcome. We are here at Yellow Colored Glasses, episode 62. Okay, we got it right, 62. So I'm very happy to have couple guests on today, some real estate guys, ask you guys some questions on that and see your guys' story. Jon and James, appreciate you guys being on. Before I give you guys a legit introduction, let's read a review, okay?
Yeah, sounds good, man.
So everybody knows that bad word travels faster than good, so these reviews mean a lot to us. They go a long ways in everything that we do. So Russell A., he says, I build custom homes and recommend Mooneyhams to any and everyone I know. They are well educated and put the work in to benefit every single customer that comes to their door. So thank you, Russ. Like I said, little things like that go a long ways, so really appreciate everybody that's left this great review. Yeah, so I think we're up to
like 115 reviews right now, so just keep it on rolling. Anybody's watching this, anybody has left his review, good or bad, send it on there. So okay, so yeah, welcome you guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. I know we've known each other for what, not very long, a couple years now?
Yeah, I'd say, well, a handful. Probably got to know each other, probably right around or right about COVID. Maybe right before, then COVID kind of threw everything.
And then we kind of got to know each other more, and we see each other more at the gym and everything else. So happy to have you guys on. I know you guys are doing a lot. You guys, I know you're just fresh out of high school and jumping into the real estate world. So excited to hear what that all looks like for you guys. So
yeah, thanks for having us, man. Really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, so let's do our peak and our pit real quick, and let's just jump into this bad boy.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Peak. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead.
You got it.
So peak, yeah. So that's something that something's going good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
something going good in business or personal.
Sure. Well, I would say the peak overall is just that greater perspective of our business that's grown in the last. So October 1 is my anniversary date of professionally, officially going in real estate myself.
Okay.
So it was only October 1 of 2019 that I professionally, made this like, okay, this is it going forward, everything like that. I had previously been in a previous career, so I made a life change to focus more on my family and create more of a life by design. So the fact that we're just 4 years into that and we've seen the success we have with the people that we've been able to serve, man, that's
huge.
It sounds cliche, but it's really, truly like, and everybody says, well, the market's been great. And it was a great time to get in, not taking anything away from that. But you know how it is when you put, the legwork in every day and then
it starts to pay off.
Each year goes by, it's task over time. So just to see some of that kind of starting to really return back. And now the greatest peak I've experienced in this year of business was James actually came to me shortly after the state run that the football team had last year during his senior year. He was 18 his whole senior year, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, were you serious about what you were talking about, the possibilities of real estate, and, me joining, a family business?" And I said, "Well, sure, yeah." And the fact that he came to me and there was no me trying to get, do this, that, because I always want my kids to think for themselves. So my greatest peak was the business doing well after just 4 years, but then also the greatest peak was him joining this last year and then just watching that kind of evolve. And here we are, man, we're already a few months in and he saw some success.
That's awesome.
We basically get more time together, but we've also had to evolve our relationship as business partners.
Correct.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I feel like that's probably, you could even say that's a pit as well a little bit, because you guys are trying to learn, you guys got to learn each other's personalities.
There's some days of some pits.
Exactly. Right. So, but that's cool, and I actually have a ton of respect for that, because I just think I mean, working with family like is really good. Like we were all family in here. I mean, basically all, like some way, somehow family owned. And, you know, you're going to get the most trust and the most work out of family, right? Like they're going to care the most, but at the same time, there's also the back end stuff where it's family, you know, and you have an outside relationship with them. And it's like me and my wife, you know, like we try to, if something happens at work, we can't take that home. And then something's at home, we can't take it to work. Like, so and that's hard. Like there's some days we suck at that, you know, and then there's other days where, you know, which will you get better. And I feel like, that's where you guys might be maybe at. I don't know. Father, son might be different than husband, wife.
We've had those days.
Have you?
Okay. It's like something will happen or different ways of sometimes looking at things, and then you have to make sure you don't bring that there for the weekend. Like, hey, we're just gonna watch the Chiefs game.
Yes. Not like let's put Friday in the past.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool.
And then just on that too, I'll just add to that what James said. The biggest reminder for me, so I've been fortunate. God's allowed me to live a lot of different life experience, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen unit cohesion through athletics and sports growing up, and then also, you know, in a family unit, and you know, the good and the bad, like you're talking about, and then also in the Marine Corps, and then also in the professional career that I had before this in construction. And so for me, it's always coming back to that mindset. But then he's actually been making me better, because as though I've got to shape and mold and direct kind of that crawl, walk, run method professionally, so he sees success, right?
You have to be on, because if you have, if from what I'm understanding what you're saying, which is how I think I would because Caleb, my brother-in-law, you know, I've known him. I mean, me and my wife been together for 10 years, believe it or not, married
awesome,
5. So I've seen Caleb when he was like, 11 years old, you know, a little punk little brother, like running around being annoying, you know, and you see him go through that. Well, now like he's becoming an adult and becoming a professional, and I feel like he does look at me for a lot of stuff sometimes, and which is not always, that's not a normal thing, right? Like especially at growing up, like you don't get that. So it's like, okay, well now I need to really make sure, like if I'm slacking, then I got other people looking at me, right? And I feel like that's probably the same way that you're
That's
at.
exactly right.
Like and it forces us to be better, right?
Yeah.
Because we do have that expectations.
Well, because professionally, we got to meet our goals by achieving the daily checklist, right? But then at the same time, where he's been a blessing in my life, professionally as partners now, is he professionally has learned, and I don't even know if he knows he's done this, but he has a way. Probably had a lot to do with his relationship with coaches and players type thing, because it's kind of the same parallel. And he had an awesome football career, but he'll have times where he'll be like, "Dad, we need to shut it off, like flip the switch."
Yep.
Because this technology is amazing and it helps you grow your business.
But it's also.
But even at home, like he's mentioned the Chiefs game on Sunday, like we could be in the moment, and I'm not in the moment. I'm on this, so he'll ground me.
That's good.
He'll actually be the one to be like, "Hey, time out. I can't right now.
That's
we got
awesome.
the game. Let's answer those emails after."
Yeah.
Because right now, you're losing it. So that's where he's really good about. He's really good about knowing when to on and off, and then growing his discipline mindset. Where I have always been wired, and of course my past professional experiences, I will just go toward that goal. For my people, whatever that is, if it's needed.
Yeah.
And then he has a good way to say, "Hey, Dad,"
balance that stuff out almost, which is good, because it's like I mean, like, and let's go into that. Yeah, no, let's go. We'll go back in. That's a good conversation. But okay, peaks. So yeah, that's good. You got anything on your end, or is that probably
my peak has kind of been along the lines of that as well. But also, my peak has been, I had my first buyer close in August.
Man, that is awesome.
And then last month had my first listing done.
A little clapping. Let me see.
That was cool. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And so that's been my peak. And then
That's awesome.
I'm slightly feeling more comfortable as it goes on in conversations like this and business sense. And so I'm just trying to build that confidence and knowledge over time.
Dude, that's awesome. Congrats to that. That's cool. And the first one's always the hardest, right? So now it's just getting that momentum rolling. I mean, that's all that is. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, a peak for me. So, oh man, honestly, so we just hit 2 years in business, Warren Mounts here, and we had our biggest month last month.
Congratulations,
So
man. That's awesome.
it's like
awesome.
every
You need to
month.
hit the clap thing.
Yeah,
So,
it's like every month, and I don't like. It's better than what we deserve. Like it's just wild. Like last year we had a great year, right? It was a good year. We had a good start. We had a lot of people come from State Farm and everything, and then just other people that we had known. And we're like, man, that's going to be hard to beat. Because usually you have a fast start in business, like with this kind of business, or that's the goal. And we kind of thought it might slow down after a while, and that's just not been the case. So last month was one of our biggest months we've ever had at the agency, and we've had some other months where it's been good, and we just thought there's no way we're going to beat that, right? And that's the cool thing is like you just keep leveling up. Like I actually talked about this a little bit last night. It's like I feel like every job I've ever had, right? Like when you start at the very bottom, and this is whenever you said drinking out of a water hose, you said it too. Like when you first start, right? There's so much stuff, and there's probably so much stuff that you're like, gosh, there's no way I can get all this stuff figured out. Like there's no way I can know every single piece of everything, John's doing or your dad's doing. But I feel like in 6 months, you'll look back and be like, okay, now I do have a little bit better understanding of maybe 40% of that, right? And then it just keeps getting better and better. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So anyways, I feel like any job I've ever had, I was always thought like, man, there's no way I can do all this. And then you end up doing it one way or the other. So
well, and isn't a big part of that because in the jobs of the constructs of corporate, right? There's a institutional structure, but also almost a managerial structure that kind of holds us back or holds you back. Yep. And then here you are in Warren Mounts. You guys have, you're your own.
It's our own brand.
It's your own brand, and the sky's the limit. You guys could take this high as you want to go.
That's right.
Just like any. That's the beautiful thing about the free market, man.
Yep, and that's awesome. What I love. So and that's what you guys are into. So a pit. So I'll do it, man. We'll come back around. So a pit on our end is everybody's. So insurance rates are kind of crazy right now. Rates are just going up. So we're trying to keep, because we have all these different carriers. So like if renewals are coming through, ideally we like to keep someone with the company for 2 to 3, 4 years for insurance reasons or insurance score reasons on the back end. But when rates are going up 40-50%, like I can't stomach having someone do that when it's like, okay, we're going to remarket this. So making sure people's rates are the best that they have, and it's new to us. So like even though like whenever we're looking at it, I'm like, gosh, that still seems high, and it's like that's what all of the carriers are coming back at. It's like some of those conversations suck because we're telling people, like especially with youthful drivers, which I don't know if you see that, but it's like it's like gosh, man, like I don't know, that's
got
wild.
3 teenage drivers, man.
I know. It's like a freaking mortgage payment.
I might have you guys run some numbers for me later.
Anyway, so that's a pit, but again, that's a good problem, right? A problem is a good way to solve, or a problem is always a good because there's a solution to be had there. So, what about you?
So a pit for me has kind of been with interest rates going up. That's caused a lot of interesting things to happen in the housing market. So having to change ways we do things and our strategies a lot. That also feeds into the fact that I'm having to learn that as well as fix my routine and my discipline, changing from the mindset from being a high schooler and a student my whole life to all of a sudden, well, here it is. It's real life. It's time to roll. It's time to roll and work and learn and build and grow so I can be competitive and grow my business in the free market.
Dude, that's awesome.
That is awesome, man.
That's great. I love that. Yeah.
No, that was good, man. That's awesome.
That's
I
love that. Like it's a
man,
great.
You speak from the heart, man. That and as your business partner and you and I know this professionally, man. Like that's about as good a reply as I could have ever expected.
The mindset, man, with that is beautiful.
That's
like
awesome.
You got to have that, and this is no offense to anybody else, but that mindset is not a normal thing. Like how you're thinking on that. Like if you can continue to do that, you're not even 20 years old, right? Like
sky's the limit.
You will. By 30 years old, you'll be way farther ahead of, I know where I'm at, or I don't know where you were at 30, but you're on a heck of a start, man. So like, keep that up.
Yeah, we probably have moments in our life wish we could hit the rewind button,
man.
And so the fact I tell him all the time, I'm like, dude, you're killing it at that age. You don't see it. It's not you're killing it or doing great by it's not
It's not
materialistically.
it's not a money
number.
thing.
It's not a number.
It's what you are doing.
Like
what
you said, man. That's right.
It's right there. It's what you are doing on a daily basis to, I mean, like you said, a routine. And I was going to ask you guys is, like, because you guys can do whatever you guys have no schedule, right? Like you guys make your schedule for the most part, right? I know you guys work around clients and stuff, but when you have sometimes you have extra free time, right? And you have nobody there to hold it. And I think that's why it's cool that you guys are doing this together, because you guys can hold each other accountable. But sometimes you don't have that accountability piece. Like it can your day can get, I don't know. I'm actually a very lazy person by just me personally. Like I could be a lazy person, but I have to do the exact opposite of that, because if I'm lazy, then I just get to feeling terrible, right?
Yeah.
So I have to do stuff all the time, because if not, I will fall back down to those bad habits. So I feel like that's kind of where you're at.
That's been part of the thing, is like, because you work a lot and do work on social media, and then so you'll be making a business post or something along those lines, or doing a graphic and something, and then that'll catch your eye. Next thing you know, you've spent 20 minutes just scrolling, wasting time. And so that's always a battle, just having to focus more on that aspect of just.
No, I know. It's the efficiency of that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
We're all guilty of that.
We all are.
Like I heard somebody say this one time though, that the most valuable businesses are the ones that are just beasts with their time.
Yeah.
Like they're disciplined with their time more than anything other, any other aspect of their business.
Yep.
So, we do a lot of. So before James got really rolling, and he was making it clear that, hey, I'm gonna get my license. I'm gonna do this, and I'm big on books. Mm-hmm. So one of the first ones I had him read is just it's a Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, I read that book.
That's a classic, book. Right?
Yeah, it's classic.
You've read it, we've read it. But again, it's that mindset thing, because really what the overall fundamental principle that I take away from that, from a business sense, was for him to grasp right away, like Rich Dad Poor Dad. So there's the mindset with business of the two different worldviews but most importantly, what are we doing with our time, right? What are we doing with our time? So if we do that, but to your question, we're pretty good about staying routine and structured. That a lot of that is at my guidance and direction.
And I guess so let's just go into that.
Go
so
ahead.
I guess so how did you get into real estate? Because I know you're a veteran, right? Yeah. So I guess talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about what you did prior to getting into real estate, and then I'll ask you a little bit as well. So
sure. No, I appreciate it. So I'm a Marine Corps veteran, combat veteran, the Iraq War.
Okay.
Let's leave that at that. And then the previous career that I had was in construction, and I was specifically in the utility world with utilities, electrical utilities, a lot of various experience there. Worked in Oklahoma. I'm from Kansas. Grew up Manhattan, Kansas, so K-State fan.
Okay. We talked about that the other day. Yeah.
But no,
that field goal.
Yeah, we're K. Yeah, man. Yeah.
We were listening.
What a game,
that
man.
was wild.
What a game. You guys had that was the day you had your client appreciation event or open house.
Yep, and we had it on the radio, and Dusty was like, he's like, dude, they're about to kick a 61-yard field goal, and I had a parlay on that, and I did not have Mizzou winning. All right, they were not supposed to win.
Right.
So that field goal, I'm like, dude, there's no way he's gonna make a 61-yard field goal and call. And he was like, dude, and then it's on the announcer like, he nailed it. I'm like, well, that's wonderful.
And that was an SEC record, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
it was a long one. 61, dude.
I knew we were in trouble when it wasn't some skinnier college kid. He walked out. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he was.
And I saw him. You see him warming up in the pregame, and he was sitting there making 50-something yard field goals. Like, oh, here we go, this game.
I know, that's fun. But anyways,
but
so
anyway,
you're from Kansas, okay?
Grew up Manhattan, Kansas. Got in right out of high school like James, but right out of high school I went to trade school.
Okay.
So everybody else, the big thing back then was you got to go to college to be successful. So all my friends someone went on to play for Bill Snyder K-State, and others went into business, others went into whatever their field was. But it was all college related, and I was like, I had two older brothers, man, so I watched that, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go a different route. And I love to work. Like I ever since I was young, I like to work. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I went to trade school, became a lineman by trade.
Okay.
And then worked my way from field to office. Without having a college degree, I was able to go from, God allowed me the journey, I should say, to put people in my life in the process to complete an apprenticeship, become a lineman, become a foreman, become a training foreman, which was one of the best times in my previous life that I ever enjoyed, man, was bringing the young people on and like physically getting up the pole with these young cats, and I was getting kind of older, and I was still climbing poles with them and showing them how to work on things both hot and cold, energized and de-energized. So going from that life experience in construction to building out like subdivisions and like, so all the progress around here in Lee Summit, Cass County, Jackson, Southeast Metro.
Okay.
Basically, Blue Springs, Lee Summit, Raymore, Pleasant Hill, and all the areas in between. We literally had I physically was involved with the urban sprawl that occurred and the growth that has occurred for housing and commercial business in the last like 20 years. Because I've been in Missouri 20 years now. 2003 is when I came. Moved over. So. Because life at the time, of course, in that time frame as well, leaving with the Marine Corps and getting deployed and going overseas and that kind of thing. But anyway, all that said, we found Pleasant Hill to be our home. We got, I've got 4 kids, awesome, amazing kids. And about 5 years ago, I had always been interested in real estate because I'd always worked in the industry where we were like helping develop subdivisions and we're watching all this growth. So I always actually wanted to get into it actually right at the crash time, back in like 08. Okay. I wanted to, man. Like I came home one day and I used to be married, at the time. I was come home and I was like, I'm going to get my real estate license, blah, blah. And just at the time, there's so much going on because the kids were young and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Well,
the hell would keep you, 4 kids keeps you busy, I bet.
Yeah. So. Well, I had ended up in management with most recently Evergy. And really enjoyed my time there and was really on a trajectory to do a lot of different things within the company and was able to do a lot of different things within the company and loved my time there and had still have awesome relationships there and that kind of thing. But for my own personal reasons at the time, I was like, man, I always wanted to be in the free market. Well, there was a restructuring that comes with corporations getting larger. So one of those things that was offered up was this incentive program for people on the management side at the time to take a purchase, a buyout, which really didn't apply to me. This would really apply to people that were like looking to retire. People kind of, they're kind of already in the sunset of their career. Correct. And they're kind of wanting to just retire early. That's basically what all that was. Yeah. So anyway, I just made the decision consciously to I was like, I'm going to step out in the free market. I'm going to take this. I kind of did the numbers, on paper. I was like, yeah, this could work. So I took that time and those assets and just reinvested that in my personal life and was like, okay, I'm gonna license up and I'm gonna get, we had a lawn care company at the time. We've actually since he was a young kid, man,
and I've seen that.
Never had a need to, but we used to always mow and stuff to take care of some people that we knew, church, family, and stuff like this. So I'm like, hey, we've already got these. I've got a lawn care company model. Get into real estate.
So what year was that?
That actually January of 2019. Okay. Yeah.
That's a big, and I didn't actually know that until today. I know we talked a little bit about this before, but that's a big step, man. Like that's especially, sounds like you had a really good job, very consistent. You have that guarantee right there. And I know it's stuff that we've gone through on our end. Betting on yourself though, man, that's what you did, and it's turned off. I think it's turned out great because I see you guys everywhere. And now, do you still have the lawn care company, or do you guys still do that, or is it?
So a couple of years ago, we did have a different. We had a couple different trucks and trailers and.
So I remember seeing that. I rember seeing you guys, but I didn't. I think
it blew up. It blew up for a little bit because the economy was great, right? Yeah. And then when fuel prices kind of went up, and everything like that, I just rediverted the energy from having kind of a 50-50 approach to. Those 2 separate business entities,
like the real estate and the
because starting out they went hand in hand together.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
Yeah,
because it was something we could do. But then I wanted to keep something for so he's got 2 younger brothers, and a sister, and we still wanted to keep some things going forward. But basically, we just kind of went back to we kept a lot of the nice equipment that just for my boys, and then we sold like a couple trailers, a couple truck unit. aerators, got rid of all that, kind of decided that was, because you kind of got to go all in on lawn care. Like if you reach a place where you're serving, say, more than 30 clients at a high level, and you start getting numbers to like 40 and 50, and there's a couple years we were literally taking care of just under 50 clients, and we're working our tails off. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
And some of those were businesses, right? So, but you got to make that decision, like you got to go all in, or you got to scale back. So we scaled back. We got strategic. Or I got strategic with that. Decided to keep a small entity of that still in existence, but that's more internal, and it's just a benefit for our clients to serve them. So we cut loose of all the contracts and the people that we had at the time, and then sold that down, and then put all that energy into real estate, but then also into properties and stuff, which you and I've talked about, because you've done properties, you've got some different things you've done with that, so investment. So it's just really about redirecting that energy and putting that where it needs to go. And then that actually allowed us to get the start we needed by doing that two-prong approach. But then after a few years, having left my previous career, and then after a few years of really blowing that up, redirecting that energy,
I'm following you. It's almost like you have, it makes, what am I trying to say? Basically, like having both of those avenues, both of those sources of income, almost made, because the real estate game, is like it's not something that just happened. The momentum. And that's what we were kind of talking about. Like if we can get momentum flowing, but during that time where the momentum is not quite there yet, you got the lawn care stuff, and then now that the momentum is with the real estate, now it's like, okay, let's let this baby go, and let's put all of this and let's roll with this whole real estate game, right? That's probably what it sounds like. So. And that's exactly, we talk about that here. It's like, you think about it, like playing football, right? If you go to half of the practices every week, are you going to be as good as the guy that goes to every single practice or stays later? You know what I mean? Like if you're not putting all of your energy into something, you're not going to get the most out of that, right? And I feel like that's kind of hard to do with business, right? Because it's like, well, what if it doesn't work? And then you got a house that, you can't pay your bills. So it's easier to do that on a football field than it is sometimes with business. But that's the thing, is I feel like reasons why sometimes people don't make it on the business side is because you have to have that mindset, though.
You do.
And it's scary. But, kudos to you guys.
I was sharing with James, man, like that's what was such a good fit for him, because when he played football, and also grades, I don't want to ever take away from academic stuff like that. You did good in school, right? So, he did good.
I didn't go to college. I didn't do any of that. So, I'm like a 16 ACT guy,
there with you.
So, don't worry. Like Caleb over here, he's like a 32, and I'm like, okay, like I'm the dumbest guy in the room. Let's keep it this way. So, anyways, go on.
James, that's what I told him in the very get-go, man. He was like, well, about that momentum. How do I get that momentum? I'm like, man, take everything you learned in principle with you and Coach Hamilton and the team and everything you guys did the last number of years. Apply those same principles to your mindset. Like you Jake, you're good about talking about that mindset, and you're spot on. And I told him, I was like, take those principles of, decide which play to run the play, everybody gets a block, we score a touchdown, right? It's really that simple.
It is.
But the discipline is what, like you're saying, what gets most people, it's the daily grind of the discipline.
Correct.
And the structure of the time, because before you know it, man, the free market, you feel like it's been, right, like you're still new, and you've already had a buyer success, a seller success, and you've already grown a lot professionally, and that's because you're good with your time.
4 months? 4 months. Yeah, and that's the discipline, and I want to let you say something on that, but if you think of it this way, like when we're younger, we're always doing something football. I know, it sounds like you guys were all into sports, and I was into sports too. Like I ran track, did football, did the whole thing, right? So I was always busy. But what does that do? That keeps you disciplined, right? You have somebody coaching you to say, hey, we need to be better. This is what you need to do in the off season. This is what you have. Like you're always trying to strive for that. Well, once that ends and we become an adult and you get into the real world, sometimes that edge and that competitive edge and that discipline honestly starts to slack because you don't have that. And that's why you see, and this is nothing, I'm not trying to be negative at all, but if you see the normal day-to-day daily person, they're their discipline and their everything about that is just not what it used to be, because they don't have anybody to push them and drive them, right? And I feel like when you're out on your own and doing your own business and stuff, if you don't have that discipline and have that mindset and motivation to just continue to say, hey, I got to continue to push forward. Like, we got to continue to push forward, and it's not because of the money. I mean,
That's
if,
right.
if money is your motivator, you will get lost some way and somehow.
That's exactly
and it'll
right.
go down.
Yep.
It can be at the young age. I've been there, like, where it's like, gosh, if I could make this much money, like, then you get a little taste of it, and you're like, oh, this is great. But as I've gotten a little older, it's like, it's not about the money. It's about all the other things of just becoming a better husband, a better person, a better friend, X, Y, and Z. And whenever I walk into a room, like, just like with the gym, like, it's like if you're in the gym every single day, I'm looking at somebody and I'm like, this is a disciplined guy. Like, he's probably a disciplined in other parts of his life as well, and that's respectful. So what do you think on that? Because I feel like that's kind of where you're at, because you go out of the high school and then going into the real game. So
Yeah, and that's like that drop off's been a big one, because you go from playing a sport for the past 12 years. Every week you've had someone kind of telling you where you need to be, what to do, keeping you disciplined.
Correct.
And then as well as, like, because I did football, and then I also threw in field and track. So all 4 years I had someone telling me exactly what to do. And so, yeah, that drop off had occurred. But, I'll be honest, I haven't done all of it on my own with the discipline and mindset thing. He's been a huge help to that, kind of keeping me on there as I can grow and continue to build that mindset, because I haven't quite achieved the mindset I would like to have in my discipline, because I still get lost in tasks and things like that, and still
Yeah, we all do,
have
man.
to learn and grow. And
That'll
so
never- that'll
he's
never
just been a huge help on
the day
that.
you say you have all that figured out is the day that I'll probably stop talking to you, because, like, that's just not it, right? Like, the day that
You're always
someone
learning.
says they got it all figured out, it's like, man, you're talking to the wrong person right now.
Well, that's the growth mindset, man.
Correct. Like,
That's the growth mindset.
Like, I feel like we can always learn from anybody. Like, learn from you, even though you're only 4 months into this bad boy. Like, there's so many things that, that everybody can learn from everybody if you actually sit there and listen. So no, man, that's awesome. I'm happy for you guys, and it's really refreshing to see somebody your age doing what you're doing. That's awesome, and that goes a lot to you and basically how you guys were raised, I guess.
Well,
So-
we're officed in Raymore and Keller Williams Southline Partners.
Which is that, where's that? You said Raymore. Okay.
Yeah, in Raymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 1006 Foxwood Drive is where we're located at over there, and our office, and I'm just adding this in because it is a big piece of our business, but our office space, out of all brokerages in Cass County, we're number one, and we outpace the competition considerably. I mean, there's even other local realtors here in Pleasantville. They do a great job, and they're actually with our office, and some of them had a big hand in me getting started and all this kind of stuff. They're huge allies. And a couple of things that you said that, that's funny you say that, because we blend this in, and it actually goes to our culture of the office that we're from, which is like, the first is like, if you focus on the people, the profits will come.
Exactly. People do business with people.
If we focus on the people, the profits will come. Like, I was sharing with him before we got up here, I was like, I've sent a few clients over here to you guys, and I do spread load my relationships in life. We have to, right?
Yeah.
You got to find where good fits are, and we've had a couple new homeowners and stuff like that, and through the relationships able to send them over. I think Janie actually ended up helping them, and they've got insurance to you guys, and it's worked out well. But again, it's that you nailed it, man. We focus on the people, the profits will come. People that flip that around and they do the opposite, typically, not always, but typically those are shorter lifespans in the grand scheme of things on a business perspective than the people that get it right, which is focusing on the people. And we've been fortunate. I told James, I was like, Keller Williams has great models of win-win or no deal, and the culture that we have is Gary Keller sets a really good pace as a company as a whole to be in business with them. It goes hand in hand if you have a faith worldview, which we do, and you have a family concept to business.
Yeah,
like you mentioned earlier, you said this office is like that, and Mooneyhams says, you guys have not just husband and wife team, but you've brought together different people in the community that, you've all got connections as far as there may have been a foundational past there, but to make that work professionally, it's tough, man. It's not easy.
Yep.
And he does a really good job compartmentalizing moments, right? Where he's, and that's, you go to growth mindset, being coachable, right? Even me, I've lived a lot of life.
Yep.
But I tell him all the time, I'm like, humility and integrity will take you further than any model or system or company's, grand ideas. Just those two simple things, humility and integrity. If you're trying to do the right thing at all times, and you have a growth mindset, and you want to serve other people, and they see that you want to serve them, then you'll do really well. You'll do really well.
The success will come. And again, everybody registers success as a different, like it's a different scale, and everybody, and that's okay. Like, that's good. But if you look at it as simple as this, and I always compare it to this, like, think of any great football player, right, or any athlete, right? Like Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. Like, look at Tom Brady, right?
That's amazing.
Do you think Tom Brady went in to say, man, I want to make all this money? No, he went in to say, I want to win. I want to win. I want to be the best at what I'm doing every single day, right? What happens whenever you win all the time and you're doing those things? What follows? Money. Like, if you look at any of if you look at any of the
it's
anybody,
a byproduct.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like, but it's not. But if you look at any of the most successful, the best athletes out there, they didn't do it for the money. They did it because they had the want to be great at something and to be really, really good, right? So I feel like if you take that mindset and just apply that to the business, right, all of the other stuff that comes with winning, which is one of the things is money, right? That will all follow you. So, but you can't have that money as the motivator, because if not, you'll get off direction, in my opinion. So, anyways, and I feel like that's good because at your age, like, now you're around, because I feel like that's not a normal thought, right? Like, you have to kind of do your own thing sometimes to really get that. And I feel like with the office that you guys are in, it sounds like that everybody has that mindset, which is you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, and one other add-on to that too, Jake, is like, we don't view excuse me, we don't view everybody we're in business with, not just our office, but other brokerages as well. So we're not in competition.
Correct.
Right? And that's a big deal. You guys see that in insurance. You mentioned rates and stuff like that. The real estate market is getting more complex. So the competition, I was telling, James and I, we talk about this, and some other people at a team meeting the other day, after a team meeting, we were kind of all talking about this. Like, the true competition lies within those rates, right? That's your competition. Competition is the system and the market. So
it's true.
Finding ways to compete against the rates going up to find the benefit of our clients is where the competition lies. And then all these other, like, possible co-oping agents, or you guys may even, like, maybe it's another insurance company for us, other brokerages, stuff like that. We don't focus on that. We focus on the competition in the market, and then we bring value to the people we serve. And again, I mean, that's, we talk a lot about that, but like, we do a lot of stuff off that's not really, I guess, James and I do a lot of things that a lot of other people may or may not do in their business, but I would say we feel like it brings a real value, which we get very personal with our clients. We do a lot of client events throughout the year. We do 2 for sure.
And what are those? What does that look like? Like, client events?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
So traditionally what we've done the last 3 years is the spring event, and what I call it a spring event. It's actually kind of at the end of winter, because it's usually after the Super Bowl. Everybody's kind of done with the holidays.
There's nothing going on.
Nothing
Football
on
on Sundays.
Season,
okay.
Right? I want people to show up.
I get down.
Chiefs can't be playing.
Yep, exactly.
But then you want to catch everybody before school ends, and like track and field kicks off and all that stuff, right? So usually we do like an end of winter, early spring event where traditionally it was like at a wine stop or at a nice restaurant where we bring in our VIP clients, and we just basically provide all the food and entertainment and drinks if they want, stuff like that. I don't drink, but if they want to, it's there, it's available. And then in the fall, like last year, we did a huge down at Big Irontown in Pleasant Hill. Off Country Club. We did a huge Chiefs watch party. Same kind of concept, but it was in the fall during football season, and we do it when the Chiefs are playing an away game. And then, so like last year, they were playing in San Francisco in the 49ers game. And it was a late day game. So it was like 3:30 kickoff, right? Or whatever, 3:25. So when we got down there, we were able to put up like bouncy houses for the kids and stuff. And then we make it family friendly, and we do like other businesses. We would go to them and say, hey, if you want to sponsor and or help with our event, what we'll do is we'll put all your information out like on tables. We do like a big banner with their logos. So we make it about them helping us for our people.
Okay.
And then we'll have like some door prizes, some raffle things, kind of like similar to what you guys did here a few weeks back, you know, with your big client event. So similar to that. But then everybody around game time, it was pretty awesome to watch was how everybody just kind of like, we had a ton of tables set up. We put like, you know, red and gold, you know, tablecloths and got real intricate with the details. We had some people help with that. That was awesome. And everybody sat and like watched the game, and like literally it was like, boom, that's it. Because all these people that didn't really know each other, except they had the common thing they knew was
the connection
with real estate, that we had transacted business with them, whether they were buying, selling, or investing. But everybody loved the Chiefs, man. Everybody, you know, cheered it on, and that was a great game, by the way. If you remember, that was a good one. Who knew it was going to turn into just an awesome game like that? So it all comes together. So, but those are our two events: football, some sort of watch party in the fall, and then the spring. This year, we did have a new event where we actually worked together with the market center. So we actually had multiple realtor businesses come together down at Red Barn Ranch. And that was more like a little petting zoo.
Where's that at? That's down in Eastland?
No, Harrisonville.
Harrisonville. Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
But I think is that Jefferson Street? Goes down to...
I think so.
Yep, it is. Down by Hoots or the golf courses? Yep, that's Jefferson. Okay.
Yeah, kind of the back way. For us, it's the back way to Walmart.
Yep, that's how we go anytime.
Go to Walmart in Harrisonville.
Yep.
You go past Red Barn Ranch, so that's how we do it.
Okay.
But no, we've gone out there and got pumpkins, you know, and they're growing up, stuff like that. And anyway, this year we did like a live music event with partnering with other businesses to come together within our market center. And families we had food trucks, we had taco trucks, and people came down. They had petting zoo there. You know, they could walk out in the corn maze and say, "Well, that wasn't up yet, but it was." You know, I think it was. I can't remember, but anyway, they had the Red Barn Ranch had stuff to entertain, so it was kind of cool.
That's good though, and like I like what you said earlier about the competition piece of things. Like you're not in competition, from what I was understanding on that, is like you're not in competition with other agents.
That's right.
You're in competition with the market or the you know the rates and X, Y, and Z, right? And that's not how some people look at things. Some people look at it as like, if some guys look at me as a competitor. It's like I'm not that's not. I don't like that. I have great relationships with multiple insurance agents, right? But that's not how everybody has that mindset. Some people look at if you're in the same industry, oh, this is a competitor, versus hey man, like how can we collab to do things bigger and better for both of us, right? And I feel like that's a cool mindset to have. I love that, especially.
Well, you guys show your value right here with like yellow colored glasses. I can't talk. You know, you bring value. Yeah. So you're doing things that are just a little bit different, but you bring, you know, and we're thankful you let us come in and have a part of this.
Yeah, I was happy to. I was excited that you guys were excited, because sometimes I'll ask people and it's almost like they're either nervous and they come off like, I don't know, Jake. I'm like, okay, you know, I don't really want to push them, but you guys were so awesome to, you know, welcome. You were excited to come on, and it made me feel excited. So I was very happy to have you guys both on. Okay, so I guess we're gonna wrap this up.
Okay,
it's
sure.
10:10, but. So I guess let's talk about real quick. Do you guys have like a certain market or a certain area that you end up helping a lot of people out with, more or less? Like, is there a certain Pleasant Hill area? Because I know you guys live here in Pleasant Hill, but I see you doing a lot of stuff out in Warrensburg, I feel like.
We've had some business out there. So basically, that's a great question, by the way. But what I did strategically for a reason. So. Growing up in Kansas my whole life, but then I've got 20 years where I'm living here in Pleasant Hill, right? And but during that time that I've been here in Missouri, I built a lot of relationships, but my main focus of work that I can speak to professionally with my expertise is that Southeast Metro. Okay. So I mean, the short answer to your question is Southeast Metro.
Okay. Yep.
Does some of that work take me out to the Warrensburg area? It has. Just because of some successes we've had out there and some ties we've had out there with relationships and business and personal relationships, stuff like that. But our main focus is Lee Summit, Raymore, Pleasant Hill, and like Harrisonville.
Okay.
That's our main core group. We do have success in like Blue Springs. We could realistically,
For sure.
today's technology, just like you guys could do insurance for, multi-state licensing and stuff.
Yep.
So you could realistically reach a lot of different people. But yeah, that bread and butter really is the Southeast Metro of the Lee Summit, what I call the Lee Summit corridor into Cass County, and then focus on Raymore, Belton, Raymore, Pleasant Hill, and Harrisonville.
Okay.
And it's been good to us, man. But like I said, I mean, we'll work throughout the metro wherever we need to. We've got one closing today, matter of fact, for an overseas client
Awesome.
that is having a win. He's getting a win up in Roland Park, Kansas. So that's kind of cool.
Cool.
So,
Okay. Where was your first one that you got closed?
Independence.
Independence.
So-
All right. That's awesome. And then was it you said you had one on the buyer side and
Yeah,
the
so
seller
the
side?
buyer side was in Independence, and then the seller side was in Richmond.
Okay.
So we'll kind of go
Yeah.
just client based, like
For
we always
sure.
are. So where we go where the client's at.
Yeah.
So where they want to be, that's where we'll go.
That's
work
awesome.
around them. So.
That's awesome. Which one did you like a little bit more? Did you like on the buyer side or the selling transactions?
I would say they're very different.
I was gonna- yeah.
With the buyer side, it kind of feels like you get to be closer with your buyers because you're showing them a bunch of houses.
You're trying to
in the
negotiate
evenings,
the
you're
deal and all that
A lot
stuff.
of-
Yeah,
lot of
that
time
makes
driving
sense.
around.
Yeah.
And you spend a lot of time driving around and talking to them in person more than you do, say, on the selling side. Not easier, but it's kind of more cut and dry, and like your preparation for getting that house ready for market and the advertising and
Yep.
what they need to sign, and then a lot of it's just kind of waiting
For the other agents to
see it, show it,
Yep.
make your calls,
Makes sense. I never thought of it
prospect,
that way.
that kind of thing. So
So is it more? Is one more? I kind of think you kind of said it. Is one more work than the other? Do you guys see?
it depends. It all depends on the situation because you can have a really cut and dry buyer, like, okay, here you go.
That's
I'm going to
true.
offer above asking. Here you go, done, easy. And then you could have a seller where it's like that hot cake in the market in that perfect range, perfect home, and it goes like that. Or you can have a buyer where you're in, you've sent multiple offers and none of them gotten accepted.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you can be
Yep.
on the selling side where maybe you're not priced right, or maybe there's something wrong, or you took
Mm-hmm.
a contingency that didn't work, and that kind of thing. So it kind of just depends on the
Situation.
Situation.
Case by case basis, I
Yeah.
would agree.
Yeah.
But the longevity of the business focus is on listings.
Is it okay?
So I mean, if we want to weather the different economic, good times and bad, and
Okay.
with, like you mentioned, rates and stuff. Rates right now, man, the housing market's changing.
It is.
It's changing at a much quicker pace than a lot of people, I believe, in the industry probably are. They're probably not realizing, or maybe they do, but they don't talk about it as much. But on the underlayer, I was talking about this the other day. It was like somebody said, "Well, how's the housing market?" I said, "It's kind of like Lake theOzarks right before a storm." A little bit, like if
Okay.
everybody
Yeah.
here is familiar with that,
Yeah,
right?
I am,
Because on
yeah.
top of the water,
It's all nice and calm.
it could be calm at times, or maybe it's a little wavy. There's a little activity out there, but everything looks pretty good, pretty
Yep.
safe. So you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go swimming, right? But underneath that, it's always a river. Like it's always gonna be the Osage River, right? Or
Yeah.
is it Osage?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you go down deep enough in the water, you'll catch that undercurrent, right? It'll take you. So that's kind of the analogy. I heard somebody else talking about this a while back, and with these rates going up in such a short amount of time, so we're having to find new ways to stay relevant, increase our value, and we do focus on the listings. But he's right. I mean, you could have easy buyers or not as easy buyers,
Yeah.
and we could have listings that are in that hot category, or listings that are a lot more work, but the listing side, controlling the inventory, having a
Makes
say
sense.
in what the valuation of properties is from a professional perspective, and the data is going to allow us to have longevity.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No matter what
Yeah,
the interest
no matter
rates
what.
do.
Yeah, because you can definitely, and how you guys are doing it. I mean, you can definitely, of course, have a ton of success in real estate. Like, and on the buyer side, like in my opinion, like there's never a good or bad time to
Right.
buy real estate, right?
Right.
Like there might be a better time,
Right.
to,
But it's always
but it's
good.
always good. Like there's never a bad time.
Yeah.
You can't tell me one property that was 20 years ago that's worth less, or that's not worth more today than what it was 20 years ago, right? It doesn't matter what the rate looks like at that time, or what the economy is doing. Like if you're an investor, right? And then I know that's not what you guys necessarily deal with and actually invest, which I'm sure you guys do, investors.
Just a little bit.
But
yeah,
you know,
to
people
your
buying
point,
real estate, like if there's never a good or bad time. If you always need to be buying. in my opinion, on that. So, anyways, I feel like the market, like with what you're saying, like that and offer and value, that's the way to keep you guys, kind of strong throughout the ups and downs of
Well, and I think
else
too,
goes
being
on.
positive. So,
Oh, yeah.
so you just the way you laid that out is that's a positive reinforcement to everybody we talk to when it comes to real estate.
Yeah.
Is that you're exactly right. I mean, overall, real estate shows a better return on the national average historically than any other investment
Correct.
for the most part. Like dirt, real estate can't beat it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So.
and if you think of it, and I'll end it after this because I feel like I can go down a hole on this one. But
Right.
if you think of
Love
it,
it.
that, so what happened? Probably when even you were 20 years old, and I know when I was growing up, like what was the American dream? To own a house.
Own your own home.
To own your own home.
Yeah.
That's the American dream. Now, you don't see that as much. Like with even like my generation and a little bit, and especially yours, like we're not seeing that as much. You don't see younger people wanting to go buy houses. What are they wanting to do? They're wanting to rent, right? And and have all of this basically room to do whatever they want. Like they don't want to be tied to one spot.
Yeah.
So what is that going to do? Like that's going to open up where people are not going to be buying houses as much, right? So it's going to allow, I guess, other sources of like investors or rental properties and things like that coming up. So I feel like the value and being able to adapt to certain things like that. I didn't think this is like 10 years down the road.
I love that.
But like being able to adapt like that, like I think that's a very positive thing. So, and I feel like what you're getting into at your age, like you're going to be able to see it all, which you're going to have the wisdom and the experience on this side, and then you're going to have you don't know anything really, so you're just figuring it out, and that's a dangerous thing as well.
Learning every day. So.
Yeah.
Go get it. Yeah.
Anyways, well, cool guys. Well, I appreciate you guys both coming on. Honestly, I've had a good time. I hope you guys had some fun as well. So, what is today? Friday. We got homecoming tonight. So homecoming parade coming up. So let's wrap this bad boy up. Go Roosters, go Chiefs.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for being on.
Yeah, Jake. Thanks to you, and we appreciate the opportunity. Really do.
So,
Yeah, thanks for having us,
James.
man.
Yep, appreciate
Bye,
it.